Retrofuturism can really be defined as any concept or idea imagined by people from the past about the future. As simple as this definition may sound, I'm always fascinated by how wildly inaccurate these depictions of the future often were. They were often either too futuristic, beyond what the human race is capable of, even today, or they undercompensated, creating technologies that looked more similar to their own time than to ours. Usually, it was a combination of both, though, and this contrast is what creates that unique retrofuturistic aesthetic. One of my favorite and probably best known examples of this
R2-D2, where are you? At last! Where have you been? What are we going to do? We'll be sent to the spice mines of Kessel or smashed into who knows what. Don't you call me a mindless philosopher, you overweight glob of grease. What plans? What are you talking about? I'm going to regret this. Are you sure this thing is...
But there are literally countless examples out there, across all platforms of media. And I like to break them down into two major categories: true retrofuturism and neo-retrofuturism. True retrofuturism is something which was never made to look retrofuturistic intentionally. It was a product of its time. It's the manifestation of past generations' inability to comprehend and predict the future of the human race, revealing itself through their creative imaginings. Think of this like a primary historical source. Only by studying true retrofuturism can we preserve the memory of our ancestors' inept imaginings of the social and technological advancements we would ultimately come to inherit. On the other hand, neo-retrofuturism is a style which plays off the ideas of true retrofuturism, reimagining and expanding upon this old vision of the future. The most common era for neo-retro artists to parody seems to be that sort of post-World War II era sci-fi scene. This time period was especially notorious for having grandiose and ambitious ideas about the scale of human technological developments to come. Interplanetary travel and colonization, household robot servants, flying cars was a big one. But the people of the mid-20th century were by no means alone in their desire to imagine how future generations would incorporate technology into their daily lives. Cassette futurism, one of my favorite subgenres of retrofuturism, focuses more on what people in the 70s and 80s thought the future might entail, which winds up being a bit closer to reality, but still comically inaccurate. This could be applied to almost any time period, though. Steampunk utilizes dramatized versions of Victorian-era steam technology, containing within it its own subgenres as well, like diver punk or German clock punk. Our dreams of humanity's future are constantly evolving and shifting, but they always seem to be nothing more than a distorted reflection of the world we live in now. It's sort of like when we imagine meeting an alien civilization. We project human-like features and tendencies onto them because that's all we know. We are truly limited in our ability to imagine just how different life can be, even within our own timeline. Cyberpunk is considered to be a dystopian futurism in our time. But how long until we look back and laugh at just how silly and obsolete our conceptions were yet again? Let's talk about Somnium, the dream. It's a story written by the brilliant 16th century astronomer Johannes Kepler, widely considered to be one of, if not the first science fiction stories ever recorded. This was cutting-edge futurism for its era. Kepler describes day and night cycles and seasons on the surface of the moon using the heliocentric model of the universe, a practice which was considered absolute heresy at the time. He correctly imagines the moon as a place, a world not unlike our own, rather than some heavenly body beyond our reach. He even describes folks being propelled there by a great explosion and using narcotics to sedate the nervous systems of these archaic lunar travelers. Flash forward about 400 years or so to H.G. Wells' famous 1898 story, War of the Worlds. It's a classic early science fiction work which explores the ideas of Martians coming to Earth in the late Victorian period and laying waste civilization. What's crazy, though, is that at this time, this story seemed like a genuine possibility to most people. This was half a century before the earliest spaceflight, but telescope technology had advanced, enabling us to make out elaborate snake-like structures on the surface of Mars. This would later be revealed to be dried-up riverbeds and rifts left by shifting ice activity. But in 1898, the theory of another civilization existing on our closest planetary neighbor was more than reasonable. October 30th, 1938. War of the Worlds is presented on the Mercury Theater on-the-air broadcast as a real emergency. A breaking news-style radio broadcast with minimal commercial breaks. Many folks sitting at home, tuning in late, missed the disclaimer at the beginning about this being a fictional report. People began panicking all across the Northeast and later across the country, fleeing the countryside in packs like stampeding animals, calling local police reporting real-life alien attacks, fearing for their lives. This incident just goes to show how believable the prospect of a Martian adversary truly was, even 30 years after H.G. Wells first published his masterpiece. Today, we have the luxury of looking back on those poor people of yesteryear with both pity and amusement, laughing and nodding our heads at their gross miscalculations, and also congratulating them when their predictions landed closer to the truth. But until we figure out time travel or crystal balls or something, we must concede that we are really no better than they were to the generations that will look back to us. We can never be anything more than a product of our own time, condemned to project our own inadequacies onto the advanced civilization we have yet to become. So for now, enjoy the present, learn from the past, but don't forget to dream of a bright future, like our forefathers did.